like what I'm doing and doing what I like, so can't beat that.
This is Jace Slocum from the Whistle Bike Shop. Today we're going to be seating a pivot bolt in a Ferrum LV145 full suspension frame. Ferrum has designed their full suspension system so that a 12mm through bolt goes into the pivot hole using Vibratite 541 retaining compound. This is going to allow the full suspension system to have a really snug and smooth feel with no rattle. We've already taken this frame apart. Here's the rear triangle. It's built so that 6001 bearings go into these slots. 6001 bearings are pretty ubiquitous in the marketplace, used for everything from dishwashers to washing machines to heavy industrial machinery. Very smart idea for Ferrum to use these double bearings in their suspension system so that you can get them anywhere virtually. We got these from Amazon, 10 for about $12. We've already taken the frame apart, and so to get these bearings out, you need to know that there is a ridge around the bearing slot. So when you drive the bearings out, you have to go through here and through here. Usually you can get bearings out by using an extension for a socket and either a 17, 18, or 19mm socket. For us, an 18mm cobalt was perfect to place in the slot through here and to drive the bearings out. You'll notice if you do this job that driving the bearings out might compress your rear triangle slightly. The gap for the pivot is 40mm end to end. So when we pushed our bearings out, we squeezed the rear triangle slot by 1.5 millimeters. You can just take a stick, use something soft like a board, and just put it in here and give it a pull. Highly recommend having some calipers. Measure your caliper. Use your caliper to measure and make sure you're a little more than 40, so that when you slide this over with your bearings in, you'll have enough room to fit everything. We bought this Ferrum 2020 LV145 locally, and the guy who had it replaced the bushings but failed to use Vibratite to seat and seal the pivot bolt, so there was slop in it. He thought that the problem was the DVO Jadex coil bushings that were bad. He bought replacement bushings, which wasn't needed. I noticed that there was play in the pivot when I bought the bike from them, and the website says that it's common to have wear on the 6001 sealed bearings. They had already been replaced. There was no play when I got into it, and I found out that the pivot bolt had play. Kind of freaked me out. I thought maybe it was worn. Matt over at Ferrum told us that their process is to use Vibratite 541 or Loctite 638. The Vibratite is more durable, it's beefier, so we're going to go with that. So for the bearings, we're going to use this Loctite 638. It's lighter, I think. It's still anaerobic. It's called the green solution. It's kind of gooey. Put it on a Q-tip and bringing it around. here, getting it coated. I'll slide a bearing in here. A little more. So this stuff hardens after 24 hours. If you want to get them out, you have to heat it up. And you want to heat it up with a hair dryer. And once it liquefies, then you can drive these bearings out. So we're set on both sides, double bearings, brilliant. And now we're going to work pretty quickly. We're going to get the shaft in, the through axle in. Okay, we got Vibratight squeezed in here quite a bit and feeling nice and snug. So we're going to go with the assembly. Okay, we've got this thing seated. Impossible to film it and try to seat it. It was a nightmare getting that little tiny washer. There's two little spacers, washers, that have to slide into the bolt. I had to use a combination of my pinky finger, a couple screwdrivers, a cone wrench to squeeze this out. Not fun. I wish that there was a better way, but it's in, and we're going to button it up now. So use a little bit of Loctite thread lock blue 242 for the threads for the bolts going in, and tighten these up. All right, just replace the bridge bolt right there. All right, we got this beast buttoned up. Through axle for the pivot is in. New bearings locked down with some thread lock. The bridge bolt's in. The DVO JDEX suspension coil is in and moderately tightened up. We're going to let this sit for 24 hours. We're not going to touch it. And then we're going to hit it. Here's the result of our work. Need a bench cleanup. If you want to do this job, you need some Loctite or some Vibratight 541 sticky stuff. Definitely got rid of the play. Recommend some Q-tips and some thread lock. You'll need your regular shop tools. Calipers are helpful. This was an okay thing to assemble. It was a bit nerve-wracking in that you have 30 minutes to get this buttoned up. I had never done this application before. I've done a gazillion mechanical operations, but nothing like this. It wasn't brain surgery. The big problem with it was that you've got a through bolt with a little retaining gap spacer washer right here and right here. The through bolt goes in, and then you got to drop the washer. This side's easy, and then this side you kind of have to fish it in there. Again, we used a cone wrench to pull the triangle apart and then stuck a screwdriver in there. First a really small one and then a larger one, and then we used a 12 millimeter rear through axle. I put a Q-tip in it so it didn't get any gunge inside of it in there to wiggle it around, and it goes in. So that'll probably be the hardest part of putting that together. Just waiting on this guy to dry for 24 hours, then we're going to put it together. It's going to be my personal bike. It'll replace my 2015 Surly Karate Monkey with Ibis carbon wheels, Chris King hubs, Paul components, beautiful blue anno stem, Fox Evolution fork, Origin 8, zippy 1x10 setup, and we'll be going to this Ferrum 2020 LV145 with Industry 9 wheels, XT XDR, DVO Jadex suspension, RockShox Yari 150. I'm a big boy, 220 pounds, 6'5", so this is an XL frame with a pretty heavy duty coil. Gonna look forward to dropping in on this thing. So that's it for that pivot replacement. And don't forget to always end by cleaning your bench. Clean bench is a sign of a good mechanic. This is Jay Slocum from the Whistle Bike Shop, signing off. Visit us at www.bikewhistle.com. The Whistle Bike Shop, repairing a broken world, one bike at a time.
I am the drama.